When Jenna found a perfect apartment in a quiet part of town, she couldn't believe her luck. It was a charming 2-bedroom in an old brick building. The rent was surprisingly affordable, the area was peaceful, and the landlord, Mr. Perkins, seemed friendly enough. He was an older man, living in the basement apartment. He handled all the maintenance personally and always emphasized the building's security. He reassured Jenna that she wouldn't have any issues with noise or privacy. At first, everything seemed fine. But within a few weeks of moving in, Jenna began noticing odd things happening in her apartment. A window she was certain she had closed would be open when she returned from work. Little things, like her keys, would go missing, only to turn up in strange places like the bathroom sink or on her kitchen counter. Initially, Jenna chalked it up to her own absent-mindedness, figuring she was just stressed from the move. But then, one night, she woke up at around 2 a.m., feeling a cold breeze. Half asleep, she looked across the room and froze. The door to her bedroom, which she always kept closed at night, was slightly ajar. She could swear she saw it move, as if someone had just slipped out. She tried to shake it off, convincing herself that it was just a draft, but it kept happening. Almost every night, she would wake up to find her bedroom door open, despite her locking it. She began feeling watched, as if there was someone else in the apartment. The eerie feeling of not being alone became overwhelming. One evening, she confronted Mr. Perkins about the strange occurrences, hoping for some kind of explanation. He was polite but dismissive. He assured her that no one could have possibly entered the apartment, as he had the only other key, and there was no way to access her unit without going through him. He suggested that the old building probably had drafts, and that she might be imagining things. Determined to find out what was going on, Jenna installed a small camera in her living room, aimed at her bedroom door. She was nervous, but desperate to catch whatever was causing these disturbances. For the first few nights, the footage showed nothing unusual, but one night, around 3 a.m., the camera picked up movement. The next morning, Jenna anxiously reviewed the footage. At first, she saw nothing but the dark living room, lit only by the soft glow of the streetlight outside. But then, she spotted something. Her bedroom door creaked open, slowly. A figure, small and hunched, slipped silently into the room. It was her landlord, Mr. Perkins. He moved quietly, checking her belongings as if he had done it 100 times before. He stood in the doorway for what felt like hours, just watching her sleep. Then, just as quietly, he exited, leaving the door slightly ajar. Terrified, Jenna called the police immediately. When they arrived, they discovered the truth. Mr. Perkins had installed a secret passage in the walls of the building. It allowed him to access the different apartments without using the main entrances. He had been doing this for years, sneaking into tenants' homes while they slept, watching them, and sometimes even taking small items as trophies. When confronted, Mr. Perkins admitted to it all, but with no remorse. He claimed he liked knowing he could be in their lives without them knowing. Jenna moved out that same day, but she never slept easily again, knowing that someone had been watching her in the most vulnerable moments.